Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and everything in between, above, below, and through dimensions. My name is Blazy Bard, your host with an ever-increasing amount of hair, and I'm joined here, as always, by the beautiful Alpha Jackal in a suit. Look at that man. He's beautiful.
What? Hello? How did you trick me into wearing a suit like this?
It's
I.
it's
You
the
know,
Blazy magic.
it's fine. It's fine. It is a special occasion, actually, considering this is the final week of regular play for the FCC, and
That's
there's so
right.
many different connotations that can happen because of it. We've already had one result today, and that is Smiley Face beating out Hawks Hotel in a 2-1 closely contested set earlier. They've done what they needed to do to try and squeeze their way into third seed, but they've got to ask for help from the remaining two sets.
Absolutely. We're going to see in just a few moments here a game between Beltslap and the Puppies. These two teams have been in the SEC for about as long as it's been around, to be completely honest, and I'm super excited to see how this game goes. Now, jumping into picks and bans, the Puppies really need a win on this one, because if they don't, we will be going into a three-way tiebreaker between the lower-seeded teams, as you just said, AJ.
Well, this also does depend on the one set which is also being played off stream. That is going to be Pikachu Noobs versus the Snake Pit. For this sort of connotation to work for Smiley Face, they need to hope that Belt Slap and the Snake Pit, who are both already qualified, come out as victors. Then they'll manage to find their way into that three-way tiebreak. If one of these two teams between Pikachu Noobs and the Papis win their set and the other loses, it's done. It's over. 13 is already secured for one of them. If both of them finish with victories today, then it goes to the victor of the... You can see how complicated this is.
Yeah.
But if both of them win, if both the Papis and Pikachu Noobs win their sets today, then it will go to the Pikachu Noobs because they have the better head-to-head versus the Papis virtue to that 2-1 victory in week one.
It's one of those choose-your-own-adventure books, and at the moment, fate is very much in the hands of these teams. Let's see what is happening on the board at the moment. Two of Johnny's premier picks banned straight away there by the Puppies alongside Julio's tier. So that's some pretty targeted bans already. Beltslap, however, on the flip side, are going to just play the meta at the moment. Persephone being banned out, Yamoja being banned out. Kepri gets banned out here as well. Not exactly meta, but it is a pick that we've seen a lot in the recent weeks of SEC. AJ, what do you think to these first rounds of bans?
I mean, if you cover up the fact that it's Belt Slap, and then you have a look at what the Papis have banned, you will just say, oh, they're playing against Belt Slap. Those are the bans you will do against Belt Slap time in, time out. You take Thotha away from zeros as well. So you've already set yourself up for a decent early and mid game here. Taking away two Snowball powerhouse picks from Johnny, taking away the tier, so you open yourself up to win solo lane as well, potentially. And you also get a good poke-based mid-game fighting god in mid. But then they're coming up against the Terra, Trix Tanks Terra, and the Ram going over there to Arkil. That dual lane, for me, is pretty much secure already for Belt Slap. So for the Papis, it's difficult to see exactly what they're going to be able to pick up for Hunter here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think they could have drafted a more aggressive pressure lane here. Rama, obviously, probably one of the best clearing hunters at the moment, and Terra, I would say second only to maybe Kepri, but even then I think it might go in favor of Terra in wave clear terms. So, as you said, Papi's going to find it hard to pressure out in that lane, but the Ganesh is going to attempt, and Tsukiyomi's being drafted into, I can only assume, the jungle, but it could be going up against this Guan Yu, which is almost assuredly Julio's, as this is definitely his fallback pick when the tier is unavailable.
Yeah, second tier's off the table. You need to take the Guan Yu away from him because he will go back to this pick and he might struggle in the laning phase, especially if it's an Amaterasu that the Papis just like to draft into and Belt Slap do leave open. But he will still come out in the team fight swinging. He'll make those early rotations. He will be on the speed buff consistently if he can't win lane. He will just find some way to be obnoxious and to be a presence throughout the early game. Even if it's in lane, if it's in the jungle, even if it's in dual lane, he will do an early teleport if he needs to.
I would be super interested to see exactly which other gods we've seen Julio on so far the split, because I think it's just been Guan and or Tyr, which is quite an interesting thing to think of as Vamana and Daji being banned out here by the Papis. Not sure why they felt the need to ban the Vamana. You might have to explain that one to me, but Merlin's going to get picked up here by for zeros, which has been, we've seen him on it pretty much all split. And that's going to be a Cerberus for the Puppies as well.
So Vamana would fill sort of the same role that Bakasura would, because quite decent early game jungle clear, good fighting. It's a bit less explosive for him. He sort of scales throughout the game a bit more than the Bakasura does. He sort of gets online very early and sort of hits a plateau throughout the mid game, whilst Vamana will increase to that plateau throughout most of the game. So it's a bit more of a late game pick, but will still just run you down with basic attacks, and the ultimate is a bit more impactful in those late game team fights compared to the Regurgitate. But the Set pickup here for the Papis, so Set most likely will be going into the solo lane here to face up against the Guan Yu. Doesn't have any natural sustain himself outside of that Kingslayer ultimate, so it's going to find it very difficult to deal with the pressure of the Tallow Assault. I think they've just drafted themselves into a losing lane in solo lane, which, if you've already almost conceded pressure on the duo side, you're really relying on this Thoth and Tsukuyomi to get things done in mid. And you just can't really do too much against this Algon. Actually, hang on. So yeah, I just see Set and I think solo lane. It's late. Okay, I'm sorry. Cerberus in the solo lane. Tsukuyomi ADC or Set ADC. What do you take your pick here?
I think Set probably has the better loadout for that ADC position. I don't prefer either of them to be in that long lane, but if I had to pick, probably give it to Set. Tsukuyomi does have those ranged autos available to him, though, so I guess both of them do have potential, but I think we more often see Set being built towards that attack speed style build, what with the ultimate being Kingslayer, giving you so much extra attack speed, the heal, as you said, so we'll have to see how that works out for them, but Belt Slap seem to have drafted just about everything they possibly could have wanted. We've got Trixtank's Terra, we've got Arkill's Rama, we've got Guan Yu for Julio, Merlin for Zeros, and Ao Kwang for Johnny. Let's dive in to this absolute monster of a game, AJ, because I am scared for the Papis' safety.
Yeah, this is a must-win set for the Papis, and they're going with an unorthodox pick with the Set ADC. Like you said, they have their strengths and weaknesses depending on if they had to Set on the Tsukuyomi here. The Set will definitely look to take the all-out fight better than the Tsukuyomi will, but the Tsukuyomi, I personally feel, would have the better chance of poking out and dealing with Arkill in sort of that gradual 1-versus-1. But with Arkill building into lifesteal quite early on, I think going to Set ADC is the correct decision.
For sure. It's kind of a trade-off, right? Set would probably be better off overall, but if you really wanted to kind of counteract some of that early pressure, maybe put Tsukuyomi in there, but they're not going to get pressure in this lane as we outlined earlier on, so I think, yeah, for sure putting Wachi on the Set is going to be the better option. I think I would have overall preferred an actual Hunter, or even a Soul, or a Chronos, or an Olaran, but yeah, we've got a Set.
Yeah, we have a Set, and I don't think we're going to see much more of it in this set, if I'm honest. He is quite strong right now. With the extra scaling that he got on his skewer has helped him out a fair bit. But it's more really to do with the laning phase and more really to do with his ability to bully people out, which is why we are seeing it picked up a bit more in these games where sort of the early game matters quite a fair bit. You see Trixack just doing what he can to put as much pressure as possible, let them lose minions.
Sarah is one of those characters who I think has always kind of been in a weird position in the duo lane, in that her clear is basically nothing until you get to level 3. At which point you have the pillar, you dash through the pillar, and the wave is gone. And that makes her one of the most high-pressure characters in the game, in this duo lane, but you do have to get to at least level 2 for that combo to be up.
And you can see that the combo is coming out right away for Trix. Doesn't have the dash available, still only level 2, but does provide himself a bit of healing, that extra bit of slow on the autos, as well as just that tiny bit of damage increase because of that passive coming out from having those standing stones available. Means that Terra is really just a nuisance to deal with. I could see where they're going with this Ganesh pick to try and counter out the dash, because silence it out as it comes out, dash goes on cooldown, the pillar still stays up, and the wave still stays, you know, standing quite healthily. But then, if Terra does have the passive up, you can't knock Terra up. So your engage with the Ganesh, with the dash knockup, just doesn't work.
It's kind of one of those situations where they counter each other, right? Like, silence Terra out the dash, sure, but you can't really CC the Terra as the Ganesh, as you said. Over here on the right-hand side, though, some slapfests are happening. Creed isn't losing. Johnny isn't really losing either. Creed is taking a bit of damage, but both of these characters have sustained, so that's about as much fireworks as you'll see over on this lane. Checking in once again with Arkle, who's just doing his purple by himself, whilst Trix Tank is right up at the tower line, pressuring out Papis. Look at this. He's looking for the purple buff. He's just trying to be a nuisance. Look at him. He doesn't get it, but yeah.
It was a good silence by Drake and Marino to stop any abilities coming out there from Trix Tank. But I would like to point out something as well. Back in the second split, the Papis did famously manage to take a set of Belt Slap in the Split 2 finals, which is why they went into those grand finals with that one game advantage over them. Now, Belt Slap did come back and win 3 games on the dot to win that set 3-1, but the fact still remains that they managed to take that set. And how did they do so? They did so with high amounts of CC and teamfight potential with Guardians in the solo lane, namely the Kumbhakana. So it's no surprise to me to see that now they're in this pinch against this Belt Slap squad, that they are looking to bring out the double Guardian strategy once more.
I think it also doesn't hurt that it's pretty common nowadays. Like, we're in one of the most diverse metas that I think we've seen, maybe since Season 2, where mages were very common in solo, but I think everything has a place in the solo lane nowadays, and Creed, we've seen him time and time again opt for these tankier picks, whether it be the tankier warriors or even the guardians that we've seen a lot this split, mainly Cthulhu. If you want to talk about the whole season as well, Jormungandr, highly contested. So definitely doesn't hurt their chances. That it's just a pretty good thing to do at the moment.
It is, and with Creed now having those Shoes of the Magi online, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for the 1U to get a foothold in this lane. The sustain coming out from the Cerberus is going to be a bit too much. That extra 8% magical lifesteal and the abilities, plus the heal steal that he has with his passive when Guan Yu ever uses his conviction. It's just too much for the Guan Yu to fight into unless he's fully committing his ultimate.
One of those things that we'll have to see. As I said before, I don't think we'll see too many fireworks coming out of the solo lane. Both of these characters known more for their team fight potential than their 1v1 in the lane. No lane bullies, really. Unless you want to classify Cerberus as a lane bully, but he's not. He's facing 4 of them. He's 4 lane bullies, because 4 heads, if you include the snake.
The snake is a tail, not a head.
Oh, it's still a snake. He's a dude. He chills. He vibes.
I suppose he does. But in terms of the lane bullies, if you're looking at any of them, it has to be in the mid lane. Both mid lane mages like to poke out the other enemy gods if they have the opportunity to. Merlin, with that transformation, can easily win the 1v1s. And then Thoth, just the long-range poke that he has, and the fact that he will get 1 second off his cooldown for each hieroglyphic assault that he does hit, means that he wants to just be spamming out that hieroglyphic assault consistently onto the opposing mage, the opposing jungler, opposing support, whoever is in front of him. Just use it consistently, and then it's just back up again all of a sudden. You can poke them out once more and look for kills.
It's, well, something that we've seen time and time again. Zero's going up against a lane bully like the Thoth, pretty common so far this split, but still finding himself a lead thanks to the strategies that we very often describe when talking about Belt Slap, is that Zeros and Johnny both like farm. Surprise, surprise. So they will go out of their way to get as much farm as possible, which leads to a lot less splitting than other teams, and I think that's mainly why we see this lead start to crop up here from Zeros, despite having probably the losing end of the matchup.
Helps that if Chekio ever was to go full-on aggressive and use his dash, then Trickstack and Johnny will be all over him instantly. So he has to be very careful with exactly how he does poke out and how he looks to fight. If he mispositions even once, that dash gets forced, and Trickstack and Johnny will be just around the corner to have their snack in the mid lane.
And a very tasty snack it is. Zero's at the moment sitting just below a full Doom Orb. Now, Is Doom Orb very common in the mid lane these days? I feel like it's not something we see excessively.
I feel like there's two different paths you can go in the middle. You can either just rush penetration early on, like go for stuff like a Doom Orb, going for go for like a Spear of the Magus, Spear of Desolation, or in for a Divine Ruin if you're up against some healing comp, like Czechia would most likely be building into here. Or you can look to go for just straight up power and aggression in this Doom Orb. Both of which are valid strategies, just depends on what sort of composition you're facing in your own general playstyle. Do you like to be moving around the map a bit more, just influencing as much as possible? Doom Orb is going to be more appealing to you because of the extra movement speed that you get. Are you looking to be more of a utility teamfight player with most of the fights going on and centered around you in mid lane? You're going to go for the more penetration-heavy option just to focus on the support. And speaking of focus, Morgie's gone in.
And supports are here as well. The teleport has already been used here from Morgie. Tricktank gets a very nice clap there. Johnny's there before anyone else from Puppies can respond. Comes in with a nice quick Dragon Storm. Picks up the kill, and he's going to walk away pretty happy with that. First Blood goes the way of this dragon. And, well, Johnny's licking his lips. We always talk about how scary Johnny's Ao Kuang can be, and when you gear him up with that extra 500 gold from First Blood bonus, it's going to start looking a lot scarier, a lot quicker.
That was what it also got the beads from Warchi very early on in that fight. 2 minutes left and just a tiny bit of change extra before that relic comes back up, and without any major teamfight ultimates being used on the side, you can suppose you count Rams as a major teamfight ultimate, but that's, already halfway back up. They still have the execute, is the big thing, and without any other CC immunity in Warchi's kit, you'd imagine that this is just going to give license for Arkle to roll in aggressively and have Johnny just pressure this lane even harder.
I would not be surprised to see Johnny walk back into the left lane on cooldown as soon as he can. But I do want to quickly touch on something I just saw Czechio do, and that's just walk towards the Gold Fury charging that ultimate. Belt Slap have been known to kind of take that tiny little window of opportunity where no one else is looking and just do the Gold Fury. Right, we've seen it time and time again. They'll take that little tiny window and just take gold. And I think it's a really, really smart move from Czechia, recognizing that, and just channeling the ultimate, making sure every now and then that they're not on it. And I like that play. I appreciate that from the mid lane.
I appreciate the fact as well that they have the opportunity to do it themselves. I mean, if Belt Slap's going to do it, then the rest of the league is also going to look to be able to try and emulate that. It's just what you do. You see success and you try and copy it in these sorts of environments. So the Papis have also got themselves a nice draft with the Ganesh and the Thoth to be able to just burn down these objectives. Sets extra auto attack damage coupled with the power belt that he's gotten will just melt through that Gold Fury as well once he has that passive sort of stacked up, especially if he activates Kingslayer quite early on. Speaking of fights though, Ram, as predicted, has rolled in aggressively and forced Warchi back.
Nothing really that Warchi can do about it. Like, this is the biggest disadvantage to picking an assassin or a non-range character in that dual lane. Just hold on for a second as Tricktank is getting poked out. Nothing's going to come of it. But yeah, picking this short-range character in the dual lane, it just means if you get pressured or if you're behind at all, you just can't clear the wave. Because Arkle will be over here, showing myself off over here on the right-hand side. Julio's forced to ult away as the Dunk Pillars have already come down. Draco Marino trying to get out, gets pulled back in by Gravity Surge, but everyone's just going to be fine, and, well, that's it from me.
Just loads of ultimates expended there, more so on the side of the Papis than on the side of Belt Slap. Overall comes out as a wash. Johnny has got the Blink as his first relic, so doesn't have access to any form of CC immunity unless he gets that execute off onto somebody, expends that King of the Eastern Seas ultimate himself. Didn't like to do so onto Kree, just ate that ultimate and got thrown back into the rest of the team. But the Dharmic Pillars cuts off that throw. Not such good synergy there coming out from the Papis. I think if they timed it right and had Johnny actually flown into the rest of the team, they would have been able to pick up the jungler.
Essentially, yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate little interactions that maybe you don't think about. Maybe it's the jitters, Puppies. They're a seasoned team, but coming up against the roster of Belt Slap, this juggernaut of a team, and in the position that they're in as well, we could be seeing some nerves start to show from this Spanish team.
We could be, but they, like you said, they've been around the block for years upon years, especially Warchi, a seasoned player that he is, tireless leader of the Spanish community as well as the Papis for many years. He'll have this sort of experience. He's seen the highs of the SPL, he's seen the lows of not qualifying for the biggest lands of the year. He will know exactly what needs to be said, exactly how to motivate the rest of these players, and get the absolute best out of them in this do-or-die match.
Here's hoping, because they really need it. This team looking like they're going to... sorry, not looking like they are going to, but in a position where they could slip down into this tiebreaker situation, which could be extremely tense for all the teams involved. So Puppies got to be showing out their best stuff at the moment, and if we can take a look at the graphs, it's starting to slowly slip into favor of Belt Slap, as, well, is very commonplace for this Belt Slap roster.
Slight decrease going towards the side of Belt Slap, just about halfway through the graph you can see that big spike down on the gold difference. That's exactly where the first blood has happened, and ever since then, just more and more farm, more neutral farm has gone their way. See that lead starting to develop in the mid lane as well. Zero's one level above Chekyo, most likely happening because they have got access to those mid camps themselves. But more so this dueling, the duo side of the jungle has been just completely owned here by Belt Slap. And Johnny fancies his chances. To be honest, I don't blame him. He's got loads of sustain here, and he's got Julio to help him out.
I think Johnny is able to solo that just fine. Julio is just there for insurance, making sure if anyone decides to pop their head around the corner, either they can make the retreat and Johnny won't be too low on HP, or they can just look to secure it, or potentially even go for the kill. But very, very well recognized, and it's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Belt Slap recognized that small window when no one's looking, and they take an objective for free. And it might not have been the Gold Fury this time around, but the Pyromancer is still a decent pocket full of change.
You can see the leads have jumped up to just shy of 3,000 gold, and this is going to force Papis into an awkward spot. They feel like they need to do something to swing control of the game back into their favor before this magical 17-18 minute mark happens. So now they're gripping up, looking for this neutral farm. Johnny eats a load of damage there. Chekyo just about starts and cancels the ult about the exact same time. So just looking for that last bit of snipe, but didn't want to fire off prematurely though. But now the Puppies, you feel like they want to go for an objective quite soon to put the balance of the game back into that even state.
Well, they actually had that opportunity. They forced Johnny away from the fight. He was at below half HP. The quickest he could have come back would be to clear any camps and heal off of that Assassin's Blessing and his own lifesteal, but none of them were down, so he has to back in that situation. Belt Slap could have forced the 4v3 without the jungler on the side of Belt Slap, so that's very unfortunate for them that they didn't... Well, either they didn't feel confident or didn't recognize that they had that opportunity, but yeah, could have gone for it.
Well, something we didn't really pick up on was the fact that Draco Marino went for the beads as his first relic rather than anything team fight oriented like the shell, the blink, the horrific emblem, the curse. No, it's going to be those beads, so he has some CC immunity himself. Ganesh, no CC immunity in this kit whatsoever, would just be dragon food to Johnny, and I imagine had he picked up something more team-oriented, he would have just been the focus for every single fight, probably 3 or 4 deaths by now. So good recognition that he needed this relic to survive the early game onslaught that could have happened, and just allows himself to be useful to the rest of his team in this these mid-game team fights which are about to happen.
For sure, and it's like he can get Shell or, Sprint or Frenzy or whatever at level 12. He didn't necessarily need to go for that relic early. Belt Slap could have recognized that and maybe put some aggression onto that lane in a different way with more damage to capitalize on that, but it's a smart pickup. I completely agree with you here, picking up those beads. It's not uncommon for us to see Guardians picking up a defensive relic themselves if they feel like they are behind or if they need it, just to add that extra little bit of survivability, and I think it's a really good play from the Puppies to recognize that.
Yeah, one of the first supports that actually really did this was a Milsey back in about Season 3 and Season 4. If he ever played Bacchus, he would always pick up the beats he goes up against an Ares, so because he knew that the second he flops in, second he gets anywhere near the Ares, it would just be an instant pull and instant kill onto himself. and decided he needed to be alive for the rest of his team to have use out of that Bacchus in those fights rather than just needing that relic. Dolphin being started up here and finished by Belt Slap. Papis really wanted that objective, but Belt Slap found that small window like you were talking about before and just sneak it away.
No one was looking, and when all eyes are on, well, the farm, that's when Belt Slap do their best work. They take another objective for absolute free, and if we look at the graph, that's a 4K lead here at 17 minutes. Now, we often talk about the fact that, you know, 1K, 2K at this amount of stage is really nothing, but when it starts getting towards that 3, 4, 5, and beyond, yeah, it's a little early for Puppies to be losing the reins this hard.
Especially when there's only one kill that's happened, no towers have gone down. It's just been better farm from Belt Slap. It's been more efficient objective control, and it could even be the fact that they've managed to get some nice warding going out throughout the rest of the map. But now I'm having a look at the level differences now. Solo lane, 1 level. Jungle is the same, support's about 1 level. It's the mid and solo where the biggest differences are happening, about 1.5 level difference between Zeros and Shekio, as well as between Arkil and Warchi. So that side of the map is completely covered by the pressure of Zeros and Arkil.
And it's not exactly like you have to worry too much about the pressure over here on the right-hand side. Like I said a few times at the start of this game, both of these warriors, solo laners, they're just going to be slapping each other. No one's really too worried about the state of the solo lane at this point, so having pressure everywhere else on the map is huge.
And once more, the second they enter those team fights and start grouping around Julio, it's going to just get an even worse one. And that protection shred, the ability to dug the backline so freely, they're looking at just leaving Chekio on an island to just do what he needs to do, get his final judgment off, and then die. Because the rest of the 4 of them, Creed, Marcus, Warchi, and Drake and Marino, they are hard committing to a dive here. Most likely into Zeros and most likely into Arkil, both of which are playing very safe picks. Arkil more especially can buy him and the rest of his team 5 seconds by going up into that Astral Barrage and just sitting there for the maximum duration. While Zeros, with that ability to flicker even whilst under combat, can get out of dicey spots.
Dicey spots are definitely what's happening here as Creed, Creed jumping straight into the middle of the fight here. Astral Barrage is raining down from the sky, leading Warchi into the grave already, and now Marcus looks like he could be caught out in a bit of a strange position. Draco Marino is forced below that execute range, and Czechia now charging the ult. Belt Slap all in a little tight space. It's going to pick up Drake's tank. 1-for-1 so far up Belt Slap versus Papis, but Warchi definitely the higher value target than the support, and Julio now surging forward. Johnny's going to pick up 1. Arkil takes credit for another kill. Czechia now getting targeted out. Arkil's going to pick that one up as well. He had nowhere to go. There were 4 people just surrounding him, and now with, I believe, 4 kills in that fight under their belt, Belt Slap are just going to walk straight to the Fire Giant. This is probably free for them. Draco Marino doesn't have his ultimate, AJ.
He's about to get it back by the time he gets there, but the question is, does he get there in time before the Fire Giant dies? And I don't think he does. When there's an Alquang and Merlin on the enemy team, Fire Giant just melts.
Well, Zeros has got a smelly finger, and that fire is absolutely potent, even to the lord of it. Mr. Fire Giant is going to fall down in about 20 seconds, which is staggering. Pyromancer is going to get taken here as well by the boys in red, and, well, tier 1 tower in the right-hand side, as long with pretty much all the rest of the farm on Papis' side of the map. It's looking dire here, AJ, as we slip towards about an 8K lead.
5-1 reads to the kill line, 21 minutes into the game. Fire Giant around the side of Belt Slap gives about an extra 5,000 gold. Roughly in terms of the value of their health regeneration, the power that they get. So they are looking close to about 15,000, 14,000 up at this point in these team fights. The Puppies cannot win a team fight at this point unless Belt Slap royally mess up. They have to go in and just stand still and have Terrell whiff. They need to have Julio not connect with his cavalry charge. They need to have Johnny do 3 laps around the map before deciding to go into the team fight. And even then, it's still potential for them to not even win that one.
Well, you say that, but we always talk about Papis' ability to get into a really bad spot, just like this, win one team fight and flip the game on its head. Now, I agree that the situation is looking rather dire here for our Spanish brethren, but I just can't put it past them to win a defense at the Phoenix and maybe look to turn this around. Chekio, however, is getting pressured out here by Trixtank, who is just so far ahead at the moment. He's not taking any damage. Draco Marino already forced to use the damage killers, but Arkle also about half HP. Taking a little bit of damage from Julio here, just shy of the damage required is Chekio as Arkle limps away with barely a tenth of his HP. Belt slap. Walk off scot-free with a tier 2 in hand. And, Puppies are looking a little worse for wear.
That was really close to a death there for Arkle, but he hasn't even gone back to base and he's already back to full health. That's just regeneration of the Fire Giant, Confucius Shield coming out here for the Guan Yu as well to augment some of the heals which he and Terra will be giving out. And sort of offset this full anti-heal which has been built up by the Papis. See, they built the Fine Ruin, Roller Speed Stick, and have also got themselves a Pestilence alongside the Cerberus passive. Catchill will offset that slightly and just allow them to heal even during team fights.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised we don't see a Cursed Unk coming out here from the Puppies as, well, it's not going to matter now. Arkle already being forced to roll away. Warchi goes in. Terra ultimate is popped. Now up into the sky goes Arkle. 1, 2. Where's the third shot? Nearly connecting onto Warchi, but Arkle's back down. Warchi is going to make it back to base. Over into the mid lane though. Marcus shooting off his laser beams. Could Johnny fall down here? Yes, he does. This could be the break that Puppies were looking for. Down falls the jungler, and now Trixtank could be next. Final Judgment is being charged, but the left side Phoenix is already down. Julio running for his life, but the damage is coming through. Belt slap are able to get away though. This healing is too strong from Guan Yu. They're gonna get out, but Puppies are still chasing. They finally make it to the choke point in the jungle. Warchi looking for more, but Puppies are gonna decide to call that an L. Belt slap start up the Oni Fury, and Chekio walks in all by himself, a little bit out on a limb for my tastes. Charges up the Final Judgment, but that should be the end of the team fight. AJ, break that down for me.
Good space being created by Julio and Johnny rushing in and just trying to catch Warchi. Warchi engages by himself, takes Terra ult away from the rest of the team and tries to retreat, but without an Aegis, it's difficult for him to do so. And Chekio wishes he had another one here.
My horse! My horse is amazing! Your team will die because I have a horse. Up into the sky goes 3 people. That is a huge double ult. Marcus is able to pick one up off the back of that, but he's going to fall down to Julio because his horse, say it with me, AJ, is amazing. Warchi picks up another one, though, and this is the cleanup the Puppies were looking for. That's 3 members from Belt Slap falling down, Johnny included. That's a 4-man stack. And Puppies get themselves a little bit of breathing room here, but they're still fighting back from a 10k deficit, and most of their players... Oh, sorry, no, I was about to say most of their players aren't level 20 yet, but no, actually, it's just Draco Marino who's below level 20, and the XP difference has actually shifted to the side of the Puppies.
Yeah, so that experience difference graph there is almost irrelevant at this point, as you correctly stated. 4 members of each team are at level 20. It's just the supports that still need to get there. If you're looking at just the graph, you'd expect Trixtank to have a couple of levels lead, but no, it's going to be Draco Marino that's got that 1 level advantage, simply because he has managed to stay alive throughout most of the game, so has had more opportunities to farm, and has got more valuable assists than that of Trixtank, and has got 1 extra, actually, 5 assists versus 4. So it's just been more impactful for Draco Marino during these team fights than it has been for Trixtank on this Terra. But like you have said, it's still a difficult situation for the Puppies. They got that 1 successful defensive stop to stop them taking the Oni Fury, but now with the Fire Giant back up, can they really afford to fight outside of the comfort of the Phoenix on neutral ground? I don't think they can.
Belt Slap have also taken the probably most valuable Phoenix in the game. That left-hand side Phoenix for Order is going to be the one that is the furthest away from Fire Giant, which means the longest distance to travel if you want to defend both. And A lot of space has been created by the Thoth to push up some of those waves, but where is he in this team fight as Tricktank pops the ultimate here? Affected is only 3 members though. Creed is going to be one of them. He's going to get stunned out by the horse. Laser beams are coming through, and Johnny looks like he could already be in a tough spot, but he's going to hold on to his HP for now. Arkle can't say the same though, as Marcus is going to claim credit for that kill. Now on the defensive, our Beltzap teleporting in goes a Warchi. Kingslayer has not been popped just yet. Actually, cancel that. It's already down. Julio is going to get rooted. Now Creed looks to knock up 2. Trickstack has the Waystone available for him, and Julio has a Beads, but Beads can't save your life, Julio. A little bit of cooldowns can, as Warchi doesn't have the cooldowns to chase down the solo laner. But with all the space that they've created, the Fire Giant is looking a little tasty, but Puppies still have not enough health to do so. Johnny, though, look at his positioning, AJ. Ultimate is available. He just needs 1.
He doesn't even need one. He can just run away around the other side because he has that extra bit of movement speed available to him with these rings. Just the 1 will give him the extra bit of movement speed, that hasten ring, as well as the boots. He's going to be able to outrun everybody that's chasing him down from Papis who don't have any extra movement speed. They're going to be able to get a free Oni Fury here. Too distracted with clearing up these final fire waves is Chekio. The rest of the team for the Papis had to bag with no team-wide sustain. They couldn't really stay around the Fire Giant. With only Arkle dead as well, no opportunity of a window open for them to take it, even though they forced Johnny away from the fight, even though they forced Julio away from the fight. Too little time for them to be able to burn that objective.
This is what we want to see them doing, right? Like, finally we're seeing Marcus be relevant, right? His damage is relevant, it's coming through, he's able to do stuff in these fights, alongside Warchi as well. Chekio as well has the items and positioning to be able to do it, but Fire Giant is already down. Beltzap yet again has found the window, has found the opportunity, and now Draco Marino trying to cover Papis' escape as Aurelio jumps up onto the horse, but he's going to get knocked up by Cerberus. It doesn't look like he's going to get pulled in, though. He's going to be able to dash away just fine, but Beltzap are going to take that Fire Giant, and they got plenty of healing to just heal up and push down this mid lane. They have Oni waves coming through in every single lane. Combine that with left-hand side already having a weakened Phoenix, and Papis are going to really have to focus down on defending that weak Phoenix in the left-hand side, giving Beltzap so much time for everything else.
I think what they just need to do is put a small amount of defensive stop on this left-hand side Phoenix, but ultimately just give it up. They can't look to defend and keep this up successfully, especially if they're trying to defend their second lane at the same time in the mid. Oni Wave's been pushed in there, Thoth has successfully cleared that one out. It is just about this team fight. Can they successfully have this team fight on this weakened Phoenix, which is already back down to about 1/5 health? The answer is no. They're going to look to get that one up, defend on the mid one instead.
Luckily, Papis didn't really expend any cooldowns there at all. Chekio and Creed's ults were already down from the retreat over at the Fire Giant, so they didn't invest anything into it. No lives lost, no harm, no foul. Now, this mid and right side Phoenixes, not expecting them to defend the tier 2, just the Phoenixes, are going to be the important ones. That and potentially dealing with that wave that are currently looking at your Titan, guys.
Nah, that wave is just going to do a tiny bit of damage, just take the polish off the Titan's health, no longer full, just put chip down to about 99. Yeah, it's like, you know, breaking in. You get a slight scuff on your new car, that sort of thing. That's exactly what's happened to the Titan there. But Phoenixes are more what I'd be worried about right now if I was the Papis. 1 Phoenix down, the Titan can deal with itself. 2 Phoenixes down, you have to babysit that thing until Phoenixes respawn.
Well, it might be a pretty rough situation as already trying to push in here a Beltzap. That is a huge Terror ultimate. Pretty much everyone gets affected by it now. Up to the sky goes Arkle already. Trickstank could be dead on arrival, but he's going to be just fine. Marcus sits up, zupping around, but Johnny is going to find one of himself. Arkle now picking up another kill and dashing in aggressively. Look at the damage that he's doing. These auto attacks are so powerful. Nearly finding another kill there onto Chekio. Just barely escaped with his life, and that's going to be Phoenix number 2. I expect them now to rotate into this mid-Phoenix, potentially, and that looks like that is what they're going to do. We've got a wave potentially coming into it just behind this one that's pushed out from the Papis, but they're not going to need it, as they are more than tanky enough to keep this Phoenix down for themselves. Now pushing into the Titan room are the Beltzap team. They are hungry. They want to secure that first seed slot. And the Titan didn't even have health, AJ. It didn't even have health. They just deleted it. They walked in, they saw the scuff marks from the minions, and they just went gone.
Yeah, it sort of looked like a car crash there from the Papis. It was an okay start from them. Their draft is a bit of an oddball one, trying to catch Beltslap off guard. I don't say I disagree with the strategy, but I think if you're going to give Beltslap absolutely everything that they want, you have to pick stuff which you know you can play well yourself. You know that is your own internal meta. I don't think that was that from the Papis. I think they had something which worked out well for them in scrims and just hasn't translated well here for them into the actual into the actual game. I mean, for one thing, Cupid wasn't banned by Beltslap, and Papis elected not to take it. It's been the pick which has just terrorized the SCC for them week in, week out. In my mind, it should have been an auto lock for them.
And we know that Wochi and Chekio can both play it. I mean, we don't see Cupid mid so often these days, but even so, it does really baffle me looking at the set ADC, looking at the damage numbers in comparison. Arkle sitting with 25k. Wochi doesn't even breach half of that. He's sitting here at 12,431. That's less than half of what Arkle did, and I think a big part of that is just melee gods in the dual lane find it so difficult to be able to box into these hunters, especially the Rama, who, well, can I say it, is the best hunter in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I think he is the best hunter in the game, and I don't think you should be giving Arkle his best god when it is the best hunter in the game for free when you're picking it up against a set ADC. Just back to the drawing board. I want to see stuff which the Papis know exactly what's going to work for them and have practiced for years, not just a couple weeks. Because they can afford no more mistakes. They need to hope that they manage to get the next 2 wins, and then also Pikachu Noobs don't end up winning their set for them to qualify as 3rd seed.
Well, hopefully Game 2 will tell a better tale for this Puppies roster. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw you to a quick break, but we'll be back shortly, so don't be away for long. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2 between Puppies and Belt Slap. Last game, we saw Puppies have a bit of a rough set. Thank you. Against Belt Slap, they really, really need to find these next 2 wins if they are up for a chance. Now, AJ, we were saying earlier about Pickery Noobs having to win. Puppies needing to have Pickery Noobs lose to Belt Slap. Belt Slap? Snake. You know what? You take this bit. That's fine.
Okay. All right. So just to bring you some updates coming out from the other sets, as we said already, the game that was played before the SPL broadcast ended with Smiley Face taking a 2-1 victory over Hawks Hotel. So they end 3-2. 2-3, sorry. Result has just come in from the other sets that's not been broadcast between the Snake Pit and Pickery Noobs 2. The Snake Pit come out 2-0 victors, so the Snake Pit are now 4-1, second seed guaranteed. Pickery Noobs 2 also at 2-3. The Papis are now sitting at 2-2. They are down at 1-0 in this set, so if they lose this next game, or win game number 2 and lose game number 3, they will also be at 2-3, and we'll have that 3-way tiebreaker going on.
So a little bit of a lifeline for them there, but as you said, they need to win this next game. Now, jumping into picks and bans here, they really need a shake-up because things were not working out for them in that last match with the set ADC. And, well, as I said, Marcus not really showing up on the Tsukiyomi either until right at the end there in those last few fights. AJ, what kind of things are we hoping to see here from Papis?
First of all, no janky ADC pick. I want to see them go back to the Kali if it's still available for them. I want, well, not the Kali. The Kali's been banned. I want to see them go to the Cupid.
There you go.
Sort of similar starting letters. So yeah, Cupid. I want to see them go back to if it's available. Take the Ram away from Belt Slap if you have the option to do so. Just put pressure on Tarakal, make him uncomfortable, because when he is comfortable, he looks like one of the best ADCs in the world. But if you put him under a tiny bit of pressure, make the lane awkward for him, he can sort of be the Achilles heel of this Belt Slap team, which is why we do see him go to these safe picks so often.
We do also see Arkle have a pretty decent god pool, you know. It doesn't really matter if Puppies take away the Rama. We've seen he has a pretty decent Chernabog to deal with it. I mean, Chernabog isn't the ideal pick, potentially into Rama, but it's still something that Arkle feels very strong on. It's something that he can perform well on. So even if they do pick up this Rama, which I do think is a solid choice, as we're going to see the exact same bans. Oh no. I've just had the worst feeling that we're about to see a salty run back from Papis.
If we do, I am leaving. Okay, thank you for picking up. Thank you for picking Ra, so we don't have to have Blazy cast this final game by, well, not maybe final game by himself. See, I'm getting premonitions myself that Belt Slap is gonna waltz through here with the performance that they had last game and the performance that Papis did. But with this Ra pickup, it is a pick that old Dignitas really struggled to deal with in the past. So it could be past nightmares coming back to haunt them, and it's exactly what the Papis need. In Chekio going back onto a sniping-based god, but this time one that's a bit more meta, one that provides a lot more utility for the team. I like it.
AJ, it's happening. Rama and Terra here, locked in for Belt Slap. Ganesh being picked up once more for Puppies.
Pick Cupid.
Please. Oh, okay, the Cthulhu being picked up for Creed here. Now, okay, I said it last game. Creed been very comfortable on these Guardians so far this split. Cthulhu, definitely there are worse characters to pick up. Oh no. Is this Johnny going, hey?
No,
Puppies.
This has to be Julio taking it up as a matchup against the Cthulhu. This has to be, as you know, a sort of a counter pick. Cthulhu goes into his ultimate, you just go into yours and start wailing on him, because it's impossible to miss him with all of your spawns when he takes up half the lane.
True. But it could also be Johnny in the jungle. Thinking about it, you know, Set has a very similar play style to Kali, to the Ao Kuang, to the Bakasura. You've got this kind of attack speed, chewer-thrower of characters. Can do really well against squishy targets as well. And, he's got a fair amount of mobility compared to someone like Ra, who has absolutely none. So it wouldn't be the worst pickup in the world. We do see Thoth being banned away here from Zeros, but honestly, I think we'll see him go back to the Merlin as it's completely open here. Cupid is going to be banned out by Belt Slap, more than reasonable, seeing as they took away the other hunter that Warchi likes to play. But Wukong is being locked in here for Belt Slap. That's Johnny, right there. That's Julio, rather. That's Julio.
I mean, it could still be Johnny. I mean, he has played warrior jungles in the past, but that's kind of when he was forced to play an Achilles to go into Draco Marino's Kepri. So I don't see it being a Sun Wukong jungle, but it has been shown to work in the past. The Nemesis pickup, though, they have got such high single target damage and such high ability to erase one person off the map that if I'm the frontline of Belt Slap, I'm scared to even engage, because the second I blink in as Terra or Wukong, I'm most likely just dead.
I like this draft a lot better from Papis.
I love this draft. It's a really nice draft.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think Tsukiyomi is amazing at the moment. He doesn't have a lot of get out. He's all in. And Papis, looking to play something a little bit safer. I think Nemesis is a beautiful option for that against the team that they already have. As you said, oh boy. Okay.
This is spice.
Belt Slap just decided to throw a grenade into the mix of this match and pick the hell.
What?
So
this is okay. So historically, this has never been a Zero's pick. By the way, I honestly think he just detests gods which have to be in the middle of the team fight. He wants to be sort of on the outskirts and get in when sort of most relics are down or when he could surprise them.
Hear me out.
Okay, I'm hearing you out.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Wukong mid, Hell solo, set jungle.
I will raise you set mid instead.
Okay, well, let's see that bet come to fruition, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Game number 2 between Puppies and Belt Slap. Johnny's going to be taking the set in the jungle, and Julio will be piloting the Wukong. So neither of us were right. It is in fact going to be Zeros on this hell in the mid lane. Now, last game we saw the heal come out of Trix Tank and Julio, but this time the heal's in the hands of Zeros. So let's see what he can do with the two-faced god.
I'm very excited to see Zero's hell. Like I've said, it's just not a pick you will see him on at all. This must be something that they've been cooking up in sort of scrims, in practice, something that they want to test out on the field before they take it into a set that could mean something for them, because this set means nothing for Belt Slap. If they win or lose this set, they still qualify as first seed for the Split 4 FCC EU Finals. So this is the time for them to experiment. This is the set for them to experiment in. But they kind of do want to keep their 5-0 record intact. It happened in Split 1, Split 2, and Split 3. They went 5-0. Just go the entire year without losing a game. Without losing a set, sorry, because they have lost a couple games during the regular season play.
I think, as much as I completely agree that there is probably some experimentation going on here with Belt Slap, you can absolutely tell that they're not using that as an excuse. Zarkle already going aggressive, hits level 2 first. Rolls in and does a little bit of damage, but nothing really going to come of it. Over in the right-hand side, Marcus is going to contest these Harpies, but yeah, as I was saying, Belt Slap definitely not disrespecting the Papis. They've taken a game off of them before, and I think it's going to be important, but over here on this right-hand side, Creed could be in a little bit of trouble as Julio hits level 2 before him, but doesn't look like anything's going to come out of that as Warchi just backing up under his tower here. Now, the pressure is always going to be on the hand of Belt Slap, right, with this duo lane, with Rama and Terra, but picking the Hachiman with the Ganesh, I don't think leaves a lack of pressure.
It doesn't. It can certainly win fights quite easily. Speaking of winning fights, that is a lot of poke there, and poke has been returned. Now you can't fight into a hell like that. Hell's just going to turn around and rinse you. That's exactly what happened. Johnny looking for kill number 2. One more skewer should do it. Doesn't even need to happen. Zeros with the double kill.
Minions, more like winions. Puppies got a little overzealous there, went a little bit too aggro on to Belt Slap, and the minions were not happy about that. They simp for hell, and they want to take out anyone who's aggressing.
I like the aggression coming out from the Papis. I like the fact that they want to try and put this ultra snowbally mid-jungle comp behind, but it's a double-edged sword, much like Nemesis's blades. You go in, and you are unable to get the kill onto the set, you force the beads, and I think at that point you just need to back off. But just look at the repulse damage coming out there from Zeros. Chekio steps forward a bit too much and just bites the dust because of it.
I will always say that Repulse does way more damage than you ever expect it to. It doesn't matter how many times you play as Hell, how many times you play against Hell, you will always be surprised when that Repulse hits you for a bazillion damage. And, well, Papis clearly having the same effect as even over here on this left-hand side, they're still getting that pressure, managing to invade the purple buff this time around. I'm sure Trix Tank is going to be very happy with that extra little bit of attack speed.
Okay, this is a good point for the Papis though now, is the fact that they have hit level 5 on Chekio, meaning this is a hello. Okay, there was
Johnny
a gank
was
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a solo kill for a second. I'm like, how has that happened when Creed has got his power boots online? But no, Julio makes use out of a Johnny rotation, and for once, Johnny ends up with 3 assists rather than 3 kills. Chekio decides to get on the act with a solo kill himself, and that's something I was trying to lean into before Johnny makes use out of himself on that solo side. The fact that Chekio at level 5 has access to an ultimate, while Zeros does not.
Well, Johnny is going to pick up that ultimate whilst dancing around in the Ra heal, but doesn't choose to go aggressive onto Chekio. I think it's probably a smart move. Johnny doesn't have any mana to speak of, so if Marcus were to come around the corner, which he did just a moment ago, Johnny would have no way out. So very well reserved there from Johnny. I know if I was in that position, I would have been going straight onto Ra, cooking him up into some chicken wings, but luckily for
Big
Johnny,
snipe.
he is not me. But yeah, look at that snipe there in the middle lane. Exactly as you said, Chekio super comfortable on these snipe gods and really shows off his ability there with a freehand snipe onto Zeros. Very well played.
Ooh, Watchy nearly has his dash completely stumped there by Trixack. Great placement of the wall clap there. And now it looks like they're going to be able to force Watchy into that mounted archery just because of the slow basics coming out from Terra's passive. So far, so good for Belt Slap. And I have to ask, are we sure we're watching a European game right now? Because,
Yeah, well,
4 kills in 4 minutes? Hello?
Well, Beltslap have always been this team that have tended to err towards a little bit more aggression. You know, we always see their games tend to pop up a little, a little earlier, especially if Johnny's involved, but already getting hit by that Divine Judgment. Johnny falling very low, and now up into the sky goes Creed. Getting credit for the kill is Chekio. Johnny's going to take a spill there. And now Draco Marino, once again, trying to fight for his purple buff, but he's all alone here. Dynamic Pillars are going to go down, and both the players on Beltslap are half HP, but can he secure this purple? I don't think he can, as he's already used his best securing tool. But Watchy now, full HP, looking to potentially find something. Trix Tank can't be knocked up, though. Mistimed from Draco Marino, trying to find the knockup, but the effect from the passive still available for Terra. Trix Tank is going to find himself more than safe.
Oh, Draco Marino's almost bit off more than he could chew there. Zeros, I thought he was going to continue his rotation and complete it over towards the dual lane, but was just priding back up against Chekio, found himself all the way over on that left-hand side. Good identification from Zeros to see that Chekio was on his way over towards that left-hand side, and then just provides cover, provides sort of the same sort of effect that Ra would, that sustain in those fights and that bit of a skirmish.
So I do want to point out that it's actually Chekio with a level lead over Zeros. Of course, Zeros just had to pick up that level 8, but point still stands that Chekio is about a good half level above his mid lane counterpart, which is not a position we often see from Zeros. He does not like being behind. As I said last game, he very much likes farm. But Chekio managing to out-farm him so far this game is going to be really, really useful against Hell, which, as you said, is one of these huge snowbally kind of gods.
I love the draft for the Papis with the fact that they do have a lot of objective burst and control. With that Ganesh Dynamic Pillars, it was available at the last game. Hatchiman's heavily banned, giving everybody lots of attack speed. And Chekio's just there as a big old long-range secure. It's going to be difficult for Beltslap to come back into these objective fights. Hard for Chekio to come back from this.
Well, you just had to say it, didn't you? You just had to say that Beltslap were going to find something hard, as Oh my goodness, an army of sand clones descend onto Draco Marino. He's just about going to limp away with his HP intact. But Creed over here on the right-hand side, forcing Julio. Well, I say forcing Julio. Julio is just fine, but Johnny is here. He's taking a fair amount of damage from that Maya. Creed definitely swings a little bit. No Kingslayer available for the set, but Creed erring on the side of caution. Going to go up into that ultimate now, especially with Marcus on his way over. The damage is going to be good, but Johnny is going to be able to teleport under this tower. Gets knocked up, but deciding that he doesn't want to stay under that tier 1 for too long. Creed's just going to back away now. Johnny is going to find himself back into the fountain, and blue buff is going to go the way of Puppies.
I thought they were going to just dive the tower and look to try and kill Johnny at that point, but elected to just go for the buff instead. Warchi caught out between a rock and a hard place, and both of them are going to be Terra. The other one is Arkil, is going up into the sky.
You don't miss them.
He finds the second snipe, and that's all he needs to find.
He does not miss. Very well played, though. I do want to point out from Warchi, like he manages to finagle that ultimate around to get the slow off onto Arkle, but Chekio in the mid lane getting hit by the repulse. There's no finagling for him. Zeros, though, could get turned around on. No mana left on this hell, but Marcus not quite being able to find the dashes. You know who can dash, though? Trixtank can dash, and Marcus is going to dash his way into an early grave. Down he falls. Now, coming into this mid tower here, Creed uses the teleport. That's going to be unfortunate for him, but cancels out any continuing aggression from Belt Slap, but they already got exactly what they wanted, and what they wanted was a double kill.
You said that Terra could potentially be dashing there, but it was Draco Marino's own that stopped that pillar route from coming off. So it's good counterplay there for the support, but that's about all he could find. And just the fact that the monolith was still standing provided some heals for Johnny to just stand around it and win that trade comfortably against Marcus.
For sure, now under tower goes Julio, recognizing the rotation from Johnny. Creed doesn't really have anything available to him, but is juking out pretty well, forcing Johnny to take the tower aggro. And because of that, he is going to be able to survive alongside the rotation here from the support and jungle. Probably stepping over reward here, alerting Belt Slap to their presence and saving the life of Creed.
Yeah, well, they can save the life of Creed, but they can't save the life of their rep buff. So it's for the greater good. Save the player rather than the NPC. I'm glad you got that reference. And well,
favorite movie.
It is such a great movie. And it's also a great move here for the Papis looking to invade onto the blue buff. Julio eating a lot of damage, gets hit by the dumping pillars. He's forced to just run away as fast as he can. Creed trying to create as much room as he can, but Johnny's having none of it.
Marcus is just red-eyeing onto Julio at the moment. He can't quite find the damage. Creed, though, should be able to clean it up, but Marcus is going to fall down himself here. Creed finds the double, though, manages to pick up zeros, which is a great pick, but now Arkle making the rotation from that left-hand side. Dashes in, recognizing the lack of mobility from Chekio. Dash is already down from Draco Marino, now up into the sky. I said he doesn't miss, I cast the man, but he doesn't miss the important one. That's what matters. Number 3 lands, and Chekio lands, well, very hard. He dies. That's how hard he lands. Draco Marino is going to watch while his tier 1 tower potentially falls down, and Johnny is going to fall down to the tower in trade. Creed has got to be happy about that.
I think both are going to be happy. Johnny's like, okay, I proved my dominance. I'm diving at the tower, still getting kills. What's up? No one could stop me. Whilst Creed is like, we finally shut down Johnny. So Marcus can look to catch up as his 2 levels down, by the way. And I'd also like to just point out something with Johnny as well. Last game when Warchi was playing onto this set, we saw him build into a very offensive build with Transcendence, with Soul Eater. This one completely different from Johnny, going into a very bruiser-heavy build, immediately starting out with the Sledge, probably the best bruiser item in the game. Most likely going to go into a Frostbound Hammer now, just so we could stick to people with that Kingslayer.
I do think this is a pretty good look for Set. I mean, I was saying earlier how he has a similar playstyle to the Kali, and he definitely can. But unlike characters like Kali, Set does have the option to transition into a little bit more of a bruisery build, as you said. And I love that Johnny is taking advantage of that, recognizing he hasn't been getting all the kills so far this game. He's been getting a lot more assists, 4, 2, and 4 at the moment.
Oh my god.
And recognizing he's more of a support as well. Trixtank showing his chops off as a support. It's not a bad thing to be, says Trix, as he's nearly going to solo Chekio all by himself. They forced the Dharmic Pillars, and now Belt Slap are going to get the Gold Fury. Do I even have to, like, sit here and commentate this? Is there even any conjecture?
My brain's just lagging there, and I hope Draco Marino's was as well, because that Dharmic Pillars didn't make any sense to me. The rotation from Creed, the last person in, well, the first person in, and the first person out, because everybody else was sort of not around. Shekio using his ultimate to secure that red buff just gives the green light for Belt Slap to whisk that objective away. They find themselves up 3,000 gold. It is very disjointed here from the Papis. This is not the calm, collected playstyle we've just come to know from them. This is sporadic. This seems almost like they're on different wavelengths with each other, which is very worrying.
It is unfortunate, but
wow,
my. Zero.
Okay, disregard that.
Zeros gets melted. That's Papis showing off their tenure as teammates. They're gonna do that, but yeah, a little bit fractured, as you said here. We were talking last time about 4K at 17 minutes. Try 4K at 13, and in-come Belt Slap looking to prevent this Pyromancer fight. Already falling low, it's Chekio, and now he's gonna try and be gotten out by the Dharmic Pillars, but it's not gonna work, as Julio's gonna fall on him from the sky. Now Johnny falling low as well. He is gonna get picked up by Marcus, but Watchy also finding a kill of his own. Marcus being answered back upon as Julio picks up his second kill, 2 for 2. Mid lane and jungle for jungle and ADC as Arkle falls. I would definitely put that in favor of Puppies, though, as Arkle is probably the higher value target in favor of Chekio.
Yeah, I would agree as well. And what's more, it's going to allow Watchy some time to farm up over here on this left-hand side. You see, he is a tiny bit behind in his build. Once again, going for the shell. So 3 shells available for the Papis. Chekio going for one as well. See, Watchy actually got themselves into a 1v1 with Arkle and winds up the victor in this one. That Heavenly Banner just gives him a lot more attack speed bonus than Arkle was able to, sustain past. So wins that 1v1 trade, gives himself some good farm, and gets himself a lead.
Yeah, comes up with the level lead after all of that, so good on Watchy. He's going to be super happy with that. Chekio's going to pick himself up a red buff. Watchy's going to grab a purple buff. Buffs all round. Puppies are looking pretty cheerful, about as cheerful as they could at the moment. I did say last game, though, like, it is pretty rough to get this far behind this early, but Puppies are, well...
return solo kill.
Arkle was not happy about getting soloed by Watchy, so he had to solo him back.
He wasn't even touched. You see Arkle's health bar, it's full. And Marcus is going to find that out to his detriment here. Good wall by Trickstank, forces the beats early. Out comes the Heavenly Fury, and Johnny picks up the first kill of the fight.
Johnny looking fly at the moment. 5-6, 5-3, and 6 on this set at the moment. Definitely the playmaker for Belt Slap, as he always has been. Johnny is the backbone of this team. But, well, I say the backbone, but it's almost like each member of Belt Slap are a different vertebrae along the spine. These players are all star players, and it's just when one of them doesn't show up, another one will step up to the plate and shine.
And it's almost impossible to beat a team where it's got 5 players potentially going to be winning the game. Watchy wasn't even able to take this fight. Arkle completely ambushes him, and with no mounted archery, no ability to use the shell, he just had to get out.
Watchy dashes in there onto Trickstank. He did have vision in the jungle, so saw that Arkle was just around the corner, so a bit of an interesting decision, forced to use the mounted archery there. Bit of a panic move, maybe, from Watchy, just trying to get the kill onto Trickstank, but Trickstank wasn't even low. He was just kind of there.
Yeah, and I don't know the decision making there from Watchy. He finds himself with the lead, finds himself with something for the Papis to cling on to and build off of, and then instead of waiting for the rest of his team to give him the all clear to push up a bit further and to play as aggressively as he can do because they're doing stuff on the other side of the map, he just pushes up without decent enough ward coverage and gets himself manhandled by Arkle, who had finished up his third item whilst Watchy was still just about waiting to finish off that Atalanta's bow.
Just unfortunate. Yeah, it's just not a play that I would characterize to be from Watchy. Like, I mean, we've touched upon it multiple times so far this game, that Puppies are just looking a little disjointed. They're looking a little loose. If Belt Slap are a well-oiled spine, Puppies maybe have a few slip discs.
Well-oiled spine. Are they machines now? Is this the Terminator?
Do you not use WD-40 for your spine?
No.
Just me? Oh! Draco Marino catches the dash there from Trixtank. No breaking of the pillar for you, but speaking of pillars, Draco is going to drop them, and that's already a huge ultimate there expended. Marcus forced out around the backside here. 4 members of Beltslap bearing down upon him. All of the main objectives are up on the map currently, and Beltslap will definitely look to take them as Arkle and Johnny looking to rotate over here towards this Oni Fury. This could be an opportunity for the Puppies to look for Pyromancer yet again, but hi-rez is still here, and he's aware that they're doing it.
I don't think he can look to contest this. If he does, he's probably going to be just instantly murdered, but that's why Julio's creating the space that he wants to. Out comes a double ultimate for looking for Zeros, forcing to use the Aegis and the beats early. That's going to be one dead hell unless Julio tricks like him with a save. Oh. No, Chekio with the snipe from across the fire giant there.
It's a railgun of sunlight and pure death as down falls Zeros. And back to his team goes Creed. That's a very clean fight for Puppies. They do lose the Oni Fury, though, which is, I mean, an objective that Zeros is probably fine dying for. And if I'm Beltslap, I'm definitely happier taking the Oni Fury and losing Pyro, to be honest.
All right, there we go. Pyromancer has been secured by the Papis, so 1 kill. And the Pyromancer in trade for the Oni Fury, about evens in terms of gold. Experience does go the way of the Puppies, so from that engagement, you can see it goes heavily in their favor. That graph spiking up almost to neutrality on the experience difference side. Gold difference still a different matter, still sitting about 4,500 in favor of Beltslap. But the tide has been eased. It has leveled off. It is at this point now where, you know, high tide has come. It is now gone. It can be time for low tide here for the Papis. Yeah. Just before Beltslap ebb back into their, you know, overdrive time.
For sure. You know, the Beltslap, they're like the waves, AJ. They have their relaxed moments, and then they have the moments where they will completely engulf you and destroy everything in their path. And Beltslap so far, they're sitting 4K up, as you said, definitely taking one of their rest moments to kind of calm down, collect their thoughts, and gather their armies for the tsunami that is about to crash. And here it comes, as the Fire Giant is being looked at.
Chekio so far certainly has been the standout player in my eyes for the Papis. He needs to find himself back into some form of safety, though, as the rest of the team just rallies to his defense. Out comes the Divine Judgment from Nemesis, the Dharmic Pillars from Ganesh, a Shell, Beads as well popped by Chekio. They expended about a third of their teamfight utility just to get Chekio out of the mid lane.
But the important part is Chekio still has his ultimate available, so Beltslap can't commit to this Fire Giant just yet, but Draco Marino doesn't have his Dharmic Pillars, and he's getting melted slowly but surely. The ultimate is expended there from Chekio. Arkle falls up to the sky. He's hitting some snipes. Never mind, he's only hitting 1 snipe, but that's fine. They got him the kill that he needed. Zeros now looking like he could be the target of Creed. He's going to go back and heal up his teammate just a little bit, but Papis' health bars are looking low. Beltslap have a lot more healing than they do. Our kill, though, looking very low. Chekio's going to be able to pick up credit for the kill. Now, flanking in is Julio. He's going to find one. Look at the health bars. They're completely vulnerable for Beltslap to go in. 1. That's 2. Can they pop a 3rd? Johnny's looking for it in the mid lane. Creed fighting for his life, but Puppies are like Pringles, and Beltslap can't stop popping them. Creed should fall down here in just a moment, but this should be the signal for Beltslap to look for an objective, and that tier 2 tower in mid is exactly what they're going to do.
Tier 2 tower, Phoenix could fall down as well afterwards with just Marcus and Draco Marino available. 23 seconds till Chekio. And the second that rock comes up, it's going to be push over here for Beltslap. They could even just get the tier 2 tower and decide, let's go towards Fire Giants, because Arkle's up in 8 seconds. We can look to do it with him back, and we can even look to do it with just Zed, because his auto attack chain is, you know, quite suited for these objectives, especially with that stone cutting sword.
It's, you know, it's definitely a possibility. Beltslap have so much in the way of objective pressure, and as I said, you know, they might not have anything in terms of a massive securing ultimate like Chekio's laser beam, but they do have like so much sustained damage, and honestly, Repulse from Zeros almost acts like it. I was saying earlier how it's a surprisingly large amount of damage, and it's not quite the secure that you want, but I'll take it in a pinch.
I will take, having a Hell on my team if it's this stage of the game and Hell's not been, feeding her brains out 0-12, spamming, where's my team, you noobs. If it's not that sort of Hell game, I'm taking Hell every day of the week in my team.
I mean, fair enough. I honestly look a little sad when there's a Hell picked on my team, just because I know how much I have to babysit them as the jungler, but Johnny, looking like he's making people want to babysit Warchi. He's going to teleport straight over here and force out mounted archery. Warchi once again finds himself on the desert without a horse. No matter if it's got a name or not. Now looking to re-engage over onto this Fire Giant side, AJ. What is the play as Kingslayer comes out and Warchi doesn't have a Phoenix to hide behind? Well, he does, but it's irrelevant. It's not even doing anything.
You know what else is not doing anything? The zone coming out from the rest of the Puppies is just pincer movement coming out from the Belt Slap boys. Forces out Dharmic Pillars, forces out the Descendant of Madness, and with two big teamfight elements from your Guardians down, there's really, really no way that Puppies can look to push in to defend this Fire Giant.
Checkio does still have the snipe though, as Fire Giant falls to about 1/3 HP, but too early that is Checkio, and he steps out of position. The entirety of Belt Slap go, fried chickens on the menu, boys! They're gonna pick him up, go straight back onto the Fire Giant, and pick up, well, exactly that. They're gonna take that Fire Giant belt around their waist once more. Pyromancer's gonna be next on the menu, and they're gonna probably look to back up here, spend all of the gold that they just got, and honestly, AJ, look to end the game here, 24 minutes in, with a 10k lead.
So, if I'm at this point with Belts, I'm thinking, yeah, let's just end the game so I can, go do something else. I want to just relax, unwind, celebrate the fact that we went 5-0, 4 splits in a row, and prepare for the split for the finals. And then condemn Papis to going through these, best of one playoffs. Don't forget, if it is the result that we are expecting it to be from this point onwards, with Belt Slap getting the second victory here as Tree does fall, it will be that three-way tiebreak, and each one of those games is going to be best of ones between the Puppies, Hickory Noobs, and Smiley Face.
Oh, Draco, no, he's gonna fall down here. 1, 2, where's the third snipe? Lands on Checkio, but Checkio's waiting for him. When he lands, Arkel's gonna take a spill himself. Now up into the sky goes Julio. Checkio should fall down here in just a moment. Now that's 2 members left remaining on the side of Papis to try and defend all, not all 5, 4 out of 5 members of Belt Slapper here. Arkel is the one down though, so not as much objective pressure as Belt Slap would like, but it's not going to stop them from taking the Phoenix. At least one of them looking for this mid-side Phoenix now as well. Warchi trying to put some damage onto them, but Julio probably the best person in position in this game to make space. Warchi's going to get hit with a chunk of his HP there from the skewer. Marcus is going to take some damage as well. I think Belt Slap are probably going to take this Phoenix and limp away.
Yeah, I don't think there's any stopping, Belt Slap taking what they want at this point. Phoenix, yeah, they've got it. Fire Giant, yeah, it's theirs. The Titan probably has their name on it as well. It's been reserved. It's on pre-order.
The Titan is the last pack of biscuits that Belt Slap are just kind of going, I kind of fancy them, but can't really be asked to get out of the, out of this chair. It's very comfortable, so we'll just eat what we've got on the desk at the moment. That being this tier 2 tower in the right-hand side, and potentially a Phoenix after it, and then finally go for that last box of cookies.
Phoenix is going to be the objective call here. Well, for 4 of them, Arkel's going to be getting just a Gold Fury. A casual Gold Fury from your ADC. I'll take that, even if it is chunking a fair bit of his health.
I don't like this call from Arkel. At the end of the day, it's just a Gold Fury. They're already 15k up. They could have potentially looked to find a Phoenix here. But, I mean, I guess maybe they want to reset it, pick up an Oni Fury in a few minutes' time, hope that will accelerate their win, but honestly, I don't think it was a necessary call from Belt Slap.
I mean, if they feel like they're unable to get the Titan kill and able to get the Phoenix kill, they want to rotate that Gold Fury out and look to try and get an Oni Fury. That would be the one that helps them the most in ending the game, because it'll just give the super waves in the duo side and in the mid lane enough pressure to wipe out the Titan by themselves. And then they can look to just pull the Fire Giant, pull the Papis, and dictate the rest of the game the way that they want it to be dictated. So just recycling through that in case they do come unstuck here is something which I would have called for, you know, if I was going to be coaching this team.
Well, Belt Slap looking to potentially close out this game. Marcus, though, holding on to hope, goes in, uses the ultimate there onto Arco, who's forced straight up into the sky. Speaking of skies, Julio's there too, and he's going to come crashing down onto Chekio and Warchi, doing so much damage here. Johnny joining the fight now. Warchi's going to be the first one to fall. Chekio's going to be second. Double kill there for Johnny. Triple kill for Johnny. There's the quadra kill. Give him the penta. Give him the penta to close out this season for Belt Slap. Kill for Johnny in the jungle. Belt Slap win 2-0 against the Puppies. Secure their fourth split as undefeated and are going as first seed to playoffs. AJ, what a way to end the season.
If you don't know who Johnny is, that's the clip you just need to see to know exactly what he's all about. He is about kills, 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 and pentakills. He is an absolute machine. Belt Slap, well done. Congratulations to you for getting 5-0, 4 splits in a row, not defeated at all in a set during the entirety of regular season play. And they find themselves up with first seed and condemn Papis to this tiebreaker scenario.
I said it to you in Picks and Bans, AJ. That was Johnny going, hey, Puppies, you want to play set? Oh, you want to play set? Okay, let's play set. And he played set. That's... I don't even need my notebook for that one, AJ. That's textbook.
He's putting the notebook down. He is gone to next level caster.
What
He
a
is
mad lad.
finally leveled up. But yeah, it was essentially just... Belt Slap had a very snowbally draft from the mid lane, from the jungle, and even from the duo lane. If you allow Terra to get ahead, she is a nightmare to deal with. And all three of them got ahead. And from that point on, even if you have this very high single target damage composition that the Puppies do, you can't burn through the sustain, you can't burn through the raw damage output, you can't burn through the control that Belt Slap had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little stunned here, AJ. I'm still reeling from that pentakill, still trying to catch my breath because, wow. We were saying earlier about Belt Slap, you know, looking to experiment with this game. They put zeros on the hell, and, you know, honestly, zeros on the hell, it was there. It did some stuff. It got a few kills, but it wasn't massively impactful. Healing was 18,000, though, so, I mean... It did what it needed to do. It was a solid healer. It healed for more damage than Warchi or Marcus or anyone other than Creed.
Absolutely. And for me, even though he did get a pentakill, it is going to be, for me, Arkil just had a phenomenal set. But that's enough about Belt Slap. Belt Slap qualify. Their journey is now on standby for now. But there's still a third seed to determine, and for that, we've got some tiebreakers coming up. So, just to let you know the run of schedule, all three teams were given a random number between 1 and 3 and picked out at random. And they're going to go 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, 2 versus 3. And the way it's come out is we're going to see the Papis take on Picarinubs 2 first, followed by the Papis versus Smiley Face, and should we need the third game, Picarinubs 2 will be facing Smiley Face. These are all going to be best of ones, and it just takes 2 wins for the team to finish in third seed. We're going to keep on going in these best of ones until a team has 2 wins from these sets.
Well, ladies and gents, we've got the Spanish veterans on the Papis side, the up-and-comers from SOC, and the titanic force that is Smiley Face going head-to-head in just a few moments. So stay right with us, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be right back for some more Smite action.